Hey guys, Ryan here from RMC Gaming. This is the first video of a series of videos I will be doing to help you get better prints out of your machines. And today we are going to start with Esteps. Let's do it. Alright guys, so Esteps. When you're talking about Esteps, what you're talking about is how many steps the hardware is telling the extruder motor to move to extrude 100 millimeters of filament. Why this is important is because if these numbers don't match up, you're going to get issues with over extrusion, possible under extrusion, and various other flaws in your prints if you don't have your profile set up correctly. So I'm going to show you the easy way, and I'm going to do it on an Ender 3 mainly because it's a very popular machine and it's probably the easiest one I can move around in and out of my shop to do these videos. So let's get started. Alright, so the tools you're going to need for this are a measuring stick. You can use a ruler, but I find these really handy and they are really cheap. I will put a link down to where you can get them off Amazon in the description. You'll need a set of cutters, and you'll need a wrench to take off your Bowden tube. Alright, so now if you got your Bowden tube off, all you do is stick in your filament here, and it's going to start to pop out of here. A lot of people will have you mark 100 millimeters on this side with a pen or marker. I found this a much easier way to do it. Simply put your filament in, pull it back till it is flush with the bracket. After you got that set up, you can go ahead and go to your menu and go ahead and extrude 100 millimeters. After your extruder is done extruding, all you need to do is take your measurement stick, put it up against the base plate of the extruder gear, and measure how much you got. Right now I am getting 106. So that tells me I am going to need to adjust. So adjusting your E-steps. There's multiple ways to do this and it's going to be different per printer. Like on my CR10s with the firmware, upgraded firmware, I can manually set it from the LCD screen. The Ender 3 you cannot. The only way to do it with the Ender 3, which I'll go over, is either adding it to your starting script in your slicer, or if you added a bootloader and upgraded your firmware, you can do it through the firmware. Regardless of how you do it, I will show you how you get your correct E-steps. So I measured 105 and mine is set for 102. If you don't know what your E-steps are set at, you can Google it. I believe the CR10 and Ender stocks are 95. I just set mine for 102 beforehand so I could do the video and it not be correct. So your formula for setting your E-steps is you take the value that is built into your system, which is mine is 102, multiply that by 100, and then divide it by the actual number you got, which is 105 in my case. So after I did the calculations, it shows my correct E-step should be 97.1. So I'm going to do this through the firmware. So I'm going to change my E-steps value to 97. Make sure I got my port selected, and then upload. Alright, after I have it changed, I will open up my Simplify 3D. You can do it in Cure as well, no problem. Go to your machine control panel, connect. And once you connect, you want to run an M502 command. That'll get your hard-coded default settings loaded. After that, you can run an M500 and your settings are stored. After that's done, we can go ahead and extrude another 100 millimeters and see what we get. Alright, now that I have the new E-steps in the firmware, all I'm going to do is cut this flush. I am going to go ahead and extrude another 100 millimeters and see what we get. Alright, after that's done, now I'm remeasuring. And now I am measuring 101. So that is really close to where I need it to be. Now if I were to go ahead and do it one more time, it would not change very much and it will get me 100 on the nose. Alright, so I showed you how to input the E-steps into the firmware, but if you do not have firmware where you can do it, if you don't have a bootloader, if you have a stock machine, you can also do it via your slicer. I will show you how to do that now. In S3D, you'll go to your process settings. You'll go to the profile you're going to use with that printer, and you will go to your scripts. Make sure your starting script is set. Here you would add M92 space E and whatever the number is that you calculated. Mine was 97. You would just hit OK. So every time you run this profile, the printer knows that those are the E-steps it should be using. I am not going to put it in mine because I did mine through the firmware and it would be off if I did that. Alright, that's all there is to E-step calibration. If you have any questions, any suggestions, go ahead and post them in the comments, or you can reach out and email us at rmcgamingstore@gmail.com. Our next video, now that our E-steps are calibrated, we'll be doing our flow rate, which is another important process in getting awesome looking prints.